About 3 months ago, while I was working as a volunteer for a plastic awareness drive, I was required to collect household plastic from neighbors as part of my project. My name is Radha, and I live in a very close-knit community known as Chesterfield in southern New Jersey. Now, picture this. My house sits between 4 other houses, 2 of which are American families, and the other 2 are Indian origin. So, back to pre-COVID days, we were all best of friends. Okay, back to the plastic drive collection. When I was about to knock at people's houses and ask them to give me their trash, and let me be clear, trash, not cash, I mindlessly could approach the Indian families and put my request in. But when I went to the American families, I hesitated. And even though this might seem really small, it really made me uncomfortable for many days. So I thought about why this could happen. I did lots of research in psychology, papers about nature and nurture, and then I explored new fields like epigenetics. Books I read like Shitala and The Perishable Seed for Tejas, they really helped me expand my understanding. And then I realized that the world cannot just be seen from our eyes, but from our heads. We hear things not just from our ears, but from our past experiences. We taste not just from our tongue, but from our memory. Which, in simple terms, really means that our perception of the world is not sensual, but it's influenced or it's rigged by our minds, tainted by impressions created by everyday events and stories we relate to. While I'm a proud American by nationality, I'm a proud Bharatiya culturally and genetically. And living in acknowledgement and respect for both of these identities not only enriches my existence, but it helps me live better every single day.
I honestly think identities too often come into play when we attempt to tell our own stories. Hi, my name is Inika, and I also live in Chesterfield. I think a lot of times it's very different for people with mixed identities to come into their own and contribute their beautiful, unique stories to the world's tapestry. In the field of publishing, there is without a doubt prejudice, which unfortunately is something that pervades a lot through our modern society. I feel very honored to have gotten to speak with women of color who were publishers and speakers who have been very honest and vulnerable as to how they have overcome people, corporations, generations culturally who have attempted to stifle or reject their stories simply based on identity. Because a lot of times the world can simply refuse to hear those stories, chronicle those struggles, because it seems so much harder for the silenced and the silencers to come together and patchwork those generational wounds, and so much easier to just bury those hurtful, truthful stories and spare feelings. But the real issue with that quick catch-all solution is that it ends up denying so many people's identities and stories and truths.
Whether you like it or not, and whether you accept it or not, our identities are shaped by genetics and our environment. You see, it's all connected. More authentic stories will therefore cut the crap, remove ambiguity, and reverberate your being. This speaks of the power of storytelling and its ability to shape our perspectives and beliefs.
I honestly think that storytelling is one of the most powerful forms of cultural mediums, and that has just pervaded across time, across centuries, across cultures. So it's really interesting to think about how, as subtle as it may be, Shitala is an advocacy. It's giving power, it's giving light on one of the many impactful medicinal scientific contributions that India has made to our modern world, especially in an age where those things just go unnoticed and unappreciated.
Telling stories from our own point of view really sheds light on multiple different perspectives and helps people understand things in the broader aspect. Cultures, ideas, ways of life, they all end up contributing to one's unique perspective. What is achieved from doing this is a greater connectedness of all those around us. The importance of telling our own stories also reflects on more than just you, like the people you end up associating with, and it helps others see and create a more cultural and complete image of you.
Okay, Shitala, for example, explains the story of inoculation in India and of what exactly happened was covered up and shut down over time. This was the case due to Indians like us not sharing our stories and showing the world our own perspective. Without sharing our stories, one can lose sight of who they were, are, and could be.
Maybe if I'd explained to my American neighbors my cultural stories, like how this plastic drive actually held extra significance to me, then I could have felt much more open to requesting them and helping me by donating their trash.
There's this phrase that my grandfather or my nana likes to use a lot along with my uncle. And I just remember sitting at my kitchen table with them, talking to them about the things that I've learned in history class. And I think it was my uncle, my mama, who said, history is written by the winners. And I think about that all the time. It's such a devastating truth, but it's so simple and so intricate simultaneously that I could just spiral thinking about it, and I have. It's such a common theme across history, across cultures, that the victors are so often afraid of being incriminated by those that they have denied. And so they stifle those in individual, beautiful, damaged stories with more widely accepted cultural narratives. But if we, as a community, both the silencers and the silenced, allow that narrative to continue, we are going to deny ourselves and each other so much, and stories like Shitala would not be able to be told. So it's our responsibility as a planet, a species, a generation of people who are inheriting all of this damaged, complicated, beautiful history to enable all stories to be told at an equal volume, on an equal stage, to ensure future generations are aware of what has impacted their past behavior, and in doing so confront our own identities, and ensure that we free ourselves from a never-ending cycle of suppressed history.
Thank you.
Thank you.